So, good morning, boys and girls. Grandpa Chris back with you again with another book restoration, number 3 in the series. This morning at Mass I had the opportunity to return the books from the first 2 programs to the family. The second one I did was for the mother of the family, Prudence, who I believe is in sort of mid-80s, looking really sprightly. The joy on her face when firstly I showed her daughter's book. A little tear in her eye. Then when I gave her her own book, she just reached across to me and gave me the biggest hug, and she had tears in her eyes, tears of joy, seeing her book that she'd had for many, many years. I think 1981 it was printed. So yeah, she asked me how much it was going to be, and I said paid in full. The smile and the prayers that I saw from her this morning were just absolutely amazing. So this one, from a different family. This one is from a lady called Josephine. It's an ancient book, very, very old Bible. The spine has collapsed on it. The case is falling apart. So what I need to do is actually stabilize the text block, which is this bit. I'm going to build a new case, a beautiful leather. I think I'm going to be using some lovely red leather to make up the book. So I'll be doing that in a later part of this video. But first of all, I need to stabilize the text block. And to do that, I have to get destructive. It's loose pretty much all the way around. So using my craft knife, that's it. Cover removed. I'll use that for sort of taking measurements and the likes in a little while for when I start to make the actual book. So, as with all restorations, one of the first things you do is get rid of anything which is beyond saving. And again, using the sharp craft knife, just go down. And I might actually use that as a template for when I do make the actual book board. So yeah, I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to turn it over. And doing the same thing to the back of the book, being careful as I prise it away, because this is actually a sewn book, it's not a glued book. So I'm looking at the publishing date, which is normally in one of these pages, births, deaths and marriages. This was printed in Auckland, New Zealand in 1946. If my knowledge of Roman numerals is anything to go by, 1946. So it's a pretty old book. So I'm just peeling back the primary, or the old, and as you can see, you see how that's been stitched? Okay. They stopped doing that a number of years ago for these basic books. Right, this is going to have to go into the press so that I can remove all of this, because I can't go forward with this until I got rid of all of this primary. Okay, so bear with me just for a second. I'm just going to put you on hold whilst I get the clamp out. Okay, so whilst I had you turned off there, I was just discussing what the weather was going to be doing with my wife, because she wants to put some washing on the line, and it's not looking particularly favourable. So what I've got to do before I can put the book into the clamp, I've actually got to make my end sheets. You've seen me do that in the past, so quickly whiz through it. So measured it for length, now I've got to measure it for width. And I just, there we go, and then square it up on the board. And there we go. Waste into the recycle bin, onto my line, first one, offer it up to make sure it is the right size. Yep. And then taking my second one. I'm going to make another one because the first one didn't come out straight. So that's the first cut. That's the second cut. Another sheet of A4 paper. And fold it in half. So how have you guys been doing anyway since my last video? You've been keeping well? It's been fun here. We've had birthday celebrations, we've had school runs with Marissa, and we've had a fishing trip to Rockbourne, which was absolutely fabulous. We had a brilliant time with Martin and the team. I rather embarrassed myself halfway through the day with conversation. We were in the clubhouse having some buffet lunch, and somehow the conversation got round to, good lord, got round to colonoscopies, and wow, this is completely stuck. Got it. Good glue this. The thread had got completely blocked up. No, the conversation got round to colonoscopy, and it's something that I'm facing over the next couple of months because I've got a few issues going on. And I jokingly said that it's weird how they've got to fill you up with gas to find out why you're full with gas. But 2 minutes later, I ran out onto the decking and rather embarrassingly let one rip. And Martin came running out and he said to me, "Are you all right, Chris?" And when I went back in, I was absolutely in hysterics. And I found that the rest of the group were likewise in hysterics, because this rather loud guttural noise had echoed around the entire club, and everybody had heard it, and it just brought us to our knees with laughter. So yeah, the fishing at Rockbourne was absolutely wonderful. There were 2 or 3 fish in excess of the 10-pound mark caught. Other fish upwards of 9, 8 nines. I had 5 fish on the day, and took a bit of time to find the right method, and then all of a sudden, bang, 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 bang. Rockbourne is one of the most beautiful trout fisheries anywhere in the country, and Simeon and the team just do some absolutely wonderful work. So that's the end sheets in place. I find which is my top, and I put a little arrow in the corner so that I know that I'm working towards the top. So looking at it, I have 1 or 2 little fractures here, and I'm pretty sure that they will fix themselves when I stabilise the text block. Now I'll tap it into place and bring my clamp over, put it into the clamp, and leaving about 1.5 centimetres open for me to use. And I'm just going to gently clamp it to start with, because I'm going to need to round the spine of the text block off. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. It's not. See how the spine is not truly rounded? So I'm going to get my tamping hammer. the spine up. Okay, it's a lot better than it was, but it's still not right. So you just gently continue the tapping process until you bring all of the pages in the middle. See, there is quite a pronounced fracture in the middle of the spine, which is what I'm trying to rectify. Okay, so can you see the difference now? We've got a rounded spine. Still a little bit in this corner here. And once that's done, okay, just open it slightly, push the whole thing in a little bit further, and then I can clamp it down a little bit tighter. I'm clamping the back as well, just to keep it stable. Okay, this is where I need to stand up and move my chair out of the way so that I can create the spine of the book. Okay, I've already cut my mull, okay, to size. Need to cut my headbands, which can't really do in advance because you don't know what size the spine is going to be. So top and bottom. Need to turn it round because that's the top. Okay. And then sharp scissors, cut away the waste. So they're ready, and I need to make my ribbons. So 4 centimeters and 4 centimeters, and a cut, and using the cut length as my template, I'm just going to put the 2 ribbons in this one as the request of Josie. So they're done. These can go back into my drawer. Okay, can you still see me? You need to come up a little bit, don't you? So pretty much ready now. Okay, so that looks good enough. I have my spine sheet cut. Tamping hammer can go away. And out comes the ball brush. So I put my flat brush. Oh, hang on a minute. Got a cup of tea. So here we go. This is where I build up. The brush is a bit stiff. So I just build up a layer of glue, which will soak into each of the signatures of the book. A signature is a group of pages that have been sewn together as a single unit and then consequently sewn together as an entire text block. Okay, because this is a sewn book or a stitched book, and there's still some of the primary or the original mull on it, just takes a little bit more glue. So just going to push it into the existing glue. The screen keeps on getting dark on me. Okay, and then I just build up a layer of glue so that it soaks into the mull. Okay. In 2 or 3 hours from now, we're heading off up to Welwyn Garden City to pick up my wife's cousin and her friend, her niece, and they're going to be staying with us for about a week. We haven't seen them in a number of years, probably 7 or 8 years, so there's going to be an awful lot of nattering going on in a language that I barely understand. It's just going to be great for my wife to be back together with one of her closest friends, somebody that she's grown up with. Oh, hang on, ribbons first. I did that last week, didn't I? So we'll put the green to the back of the book, about 2/3 of the way across, and then we match it with the gold. And we just drapes those over the screw unit just to hold them in place, just keep them out of the way. So a little bit of a dab, and then we put the headband on, and using the sharp edge of the bone folder, tap it into place. Glue, it's slipped a bit, and then we do the same at the bottom. Put a nice layer of glue there, drag it away from the pages back towards the middle, stop it from sticking the pages together, and again we tap it in just gently the edge of the bone folder, and that helps it to take the shape of the rounded spine. Okay, and then building up the layers of glue, some over there, some over there, and then back into the book. And then we get our spine sheet, which I made earlier. Make sure it's okay, and then bringing it across, hold it top and bottom until you can run your bone folder over it, and then you just tease that into the glue, and then you just keep building up the layers. Kind of rushing this because we're heading up north this afternoon, and I want to get the text block finished and as much of the cover done as I can. I'm going to go across and do another rotation. One more just to give it a really sturdy spine. This is actually working out quite well. And the last one. You've gone dark again, come back. There you go. Now this is the final one, so with a downward motion you form the edges, get a really good tap in, produce your cutting edge. It goes in the recycle bin, and then using a downward motion away from you or towards you, you just create that rounded edge. And then when you come to put the leather onto it, it'll be nice and rounded. And that is pretty much how you stabilize a text block. A little bit of refuse there going into the bin, and that can now sit for a couple of hours. And I'm going to go ahead and start making the case for it. Okay, so put that there. Make a little bit of room for me. Not going to need the glue for half an hour or so, so that can go into the water. And I'll just get rid of any excess glue that's fallen onto my mat. Some of the cutting mats that I've had in the past have been two-sided, but this one isn't. So I've got my book board, I've got my ruler. So having mucked up the first cut, I'm making a second book board. That one's not good enough, but I'll be able to get my spine piece out of that. I might be able to get my spine piece out of that. Yeah, I'll use that. That can go back in the cupboard. So let's have a little look, see. Yeah, they're perfect. So now I need to make up my spine, which is, according to this, 32. $32 on there. And there. We'll have a bit of a editing session on the computer, I think, with these. So make sure my spine is the same length as my book board. Perfect. So those are the three elements that I need for my book board. That can now go over there for a reference later on. That can go, that can stay there. Okay, I'm going to whiz you up in the air a little bit, and I'm going to turn you down a little bit. So I'm going to make that corner square. Recycling bin. And I'm just going to use this as a template. And straight down. And then I just need to transfer my lines. So, I'm not lucky, eh? Sometimes it pays to keep offcuts. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, even the lines are marked up. The old lines from on there are marked up. So, okay, so now I need to transfer my inner lines, which is a very simple process. Okay, so 8, 8, 8, 8. There's the spine gone. I've pinched my spine. There's my spine. That should just sit in there. Absolutely perfect. There comes our, and we are ready to go. Now, in the previous video you saw me do some shaving around the outside, but this is quite a thin leather. I'm wondering, I don't think I'm going to be able to get away without doing the shaving. So let us make room. Let us put this back into the offcut drawer. And we get our Japanese knife, we get our strop, and we get our stone. You remember what we did last time with this? And then basically we just shave the edge off without cutting all the way through. Okay. So I think you get the idea. And we go all the way around. Okay, so I'll bring you back in when that's done. Okay, welcome back, boys and girls. It's about 10 minutes later and I've been right the way around the edges here with the Japanese shaving knife, and I've thinned that right down to maybe 1/8 of a mil. Okay, so now it's time to put on my boards. Make sure I've blown away all the residue. And here we go. So, you ready? Sure? Should we start? Good lad. Put a bit of wax paper on top of my cutting board so that the cutting board doesn't become impregnated with the glue. And then working away from the middle and then working away from the edges, I just paste in. Oop. Disobedient brush hair. You get one of those in your work and it will look absolutely awful if you don't pull it out. Particularly when you're using buckram cloth. Okay, now this leather is quite dry, so it's going to soak up a lot of adhesive. So focusing on my edges, I'll make sure that there's plenty of adhesive there. Okay, so first book board, making sure that I've got my corners perfectly aligned and my bottom line perfectly aligned. I lay it into place and then using my bone folder push it down. Okay, turn it over using the flat of the bone folder. I just put it into place like that, and then I just go around my edges and define my edges. And if there's any adhesive, there should be adhesive there rolled over, it will adhere to that. And then turning both the book and the paper around. I'll move on to my next one. Where is my round brush gone? There is my round brush. Okay, so same process. Plenty of glue up into the corners. And along the edges. Particularly important for the outside corners because they're going to determine how tight your folds are going to be when it comes to creating your 90-degree corners or your 45-degree corners. So dab it all in. There's a bit more up here because you can actually feel the glue curing as you're doing it. Okay, the second bookboard, again working from the outside corners. There we go. With the glue curing as fast as it is, I'm having to be fairly rapid with my processes. Once it's gone, it's gone. You can't do much about it. Okay, so back over we go. I'm going to fold my wax paper. There's a little bit of excess glue gone onto that. And then it's down to putting the spine piece in. Okay, so again, don't be shy with the glue. And then making sure that you've got everything in alignment. And pop your spine in. Give it a really good rub into place. Okay, and you can get rid of that. Okay, now I would really love to be able to put this into the press for a few minutes, but the book is still curing. And my other book press unfortunately fell apart. Just accentuating my spine lines and my hinges and go around the outside, pushing it all into place. That's going to be lovely. There's a very slight imperfection in the leather there. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to put you on pause for a moment because I want to get the book out of the binder of the hub. So what I'm doing, I'm just doing a test fit to make sure that the case is the same size as the text block is, and I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, how much battery have I got left? I've got 48% left, so that should. I'm going to get some more of the wax paper. Make sure it's a big enough piece, which it is, and I'm going to now fold over the edges. But before we do that, I have to cut my 45s. Okay, so can you see what I'm doing? Leaving myself enough material to complete my corners. last one. So these 4 triangles go into the recycle bin. Bring this over here. Now this is where I swap from the ball brush to the flat brush, okay? And bring my glue in. Don't need my scissors anymore. I don't need the pen anymore. Don't need the pencil anymore. We'll need the bone folder. Okay, so making sure you put a liberal amount of glue along the edge and incorporating a little bit onto the bookboard itself. Get it right in to the edges. Okay, and just pull it down out of the glue so you don't contaminate your fingers, and just pull it over and hold it in place just for a second or so. Then with your bone folder you flatten it out. Okay. It is curing so fast that I'm having to really rush it, and I hate really rushing any of these projects. Okay, so next one. That's it, lovely. Pull it over, focusing on the corners and dragging the corners into place. Yeah. A bit more. This compresses any air that's in there, forces it out, and any excess glue that might be in there will be forced out. Just ease that in a little bit more. Lovely jubbly. Well, the leather just soaks up the adhesive so rapidly that it's can be a bit of a rush. Keep going quiet on me. There we go. So some paste onto the card as well. And bring this over, making sure that your corners are completely united. Pretty good. It's pretty good. A slight overlap, but we can massage that into place. And that was just about perfect as well. I wish I could do this easily. Just massage it down with the edge of the bone folder. A little bit, wipe off any excess, and then just gently pinch the corners together with your finger and thumb. And again, just give that one last little push into place. Spin it around. We've got one more to do. Okay, it's all gone very well. Now, I'm not going to make the mistake of rushing into uniting the cover and the text block, because that would just be the wrong thing to do. And I know we've got a busy afternoon, I know we've got our guests coming, and they'll be using this room for the duration of their stay, so it's going to be difficult for me to finish this one off in one go. But oh wow, that's gone in beautifully. Oh, I wish I could do it that easily every time. So I'm going to let this relax, and I'm going to let it cure. I'm going to put it into the book press so that it is flat. And my boys and girls, one Napa leather bookcase fit for an 80-odd-year-old lady. Fold that over, brush in there, close my glue up, put it out of the way, put that in the middle there. Thank you for watching. I'll come back to you next time I'm available, and next time I can get into my room, and I will unite text block and the book cover. Still got to do the gold leafing. Yeah, I think that's going to be the front. Yeah, this is going to be the front, and I shall just do a little bit of gold leafing in here, my Holy Bible with a crucifix in the middle. And then I'll be able to give it back to Josephine next Sunday. Alright, hi guys, I'm back. I just got back from picking up Estrel's relative and niece. A little run round the M25 with all of the traffic. So on the way back we took a little bit of a detour. Used some of the A10 down through Freezy Water and Brimsdown. Came back that way. So much easier. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to attach the cover to the book. Made my decision as to which is going to be the top. I've got to lay it out, being very, very precise. Okay. So you slip it in between the two pages of your end sheet. And using the ball brush, you put some paint, some glue underneath the mole, and then tap the mole into place. Then, using plenty of glue, without any risk of contaminating the pages below because you've got the wax paper, you then start spreading from the spine out across all of the page, making sure you get on the edges into the corners. Okay, so you've got plenty in there. Get rid of your brush for the time being. Lift your paper out and make sure that you are very accurate with your settings. And then you bring that over the top and you set it into place. Turn it over, and using, whoa, sorry about the bad bottom of that. Basically just tease the page into place and spread it out, getting rid of any air bubbles. And I like to make sure that the lines are emphasized. Okay. And that's that side done. Okay. So using a second piece of the wax paper, you repeat the process at the other end of the book. It's not quite wide enough. That's a nice straighter edge. Slide it into place. Once again, underneath the mole, which of course forms the hinge, tap it into place, and then you apply your glue. And spreading away from the spine, and make sure that you've got plenty of glue on the page. Just like that. Okay. Slide it out, bring it up and over into place. Push it down. Okay. Might just need to do a slight trim once it's dry, because the page wasn't cut properly. Get rid of any air bubbles. And we will put this back into the press for half an hour, by which time the glue will be dry. And then there she is, all done. Okay, so as I said, I might just do a little trim at the top here and at the bottom because the page wasn't quite cut quite square. It needs to be teased down a bit, but I'll do that later on off camera. Turn it back over and tease that back into place. Get it lifted. Okay, boys and girls, thank you very much indeed for watching. I'm going to go and finish my cup of tea downstairs and then spend a lovely evening in the company of some very nice people. And I'll try and edit the video a little bit later on and get it on. I know that I've got maybe 4 or 5 more cherished books coming in. So if there's anything particularly special, then I shall do another video. But in the meantime, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this one. God bless you, and see you soon. Grandpa Chris, signing off.